Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the World Championship Series, Europe Premier League, round of 16. We're in Group C right now, almost ready to get underway for our winners' game. It's going to be a very interesting match indeed. These two players already having won their opening matches. So let's take a look at the bracket. And hopefully that's up on your screen right now. And there it is. Confirmation that BabyKnight and StarDust have both won their opening games, both winning by 2-0, and will now face off in the winners' bracket final. Just a reminder for you at home as well, this is winner takes all, because win two and you're through in dual tournament format. And that means the winner of this next game goes through to the quarterfinals to join our 4 players who are already in position. So let's go over to our commentary team for our winners' game. Enjoy this one. It's StarDust versus BabyKnight.
Thanks very much. As we now get into our winners' game here for PvP between these two players, we have StarDust going up against BabyKnight, and it's the exact result I wasn't expecting.
You're supposed to say that's the exact result I was expecting.
But I kind of came into this group, I was like, oh wow, TLO and Wellman, I thought they were going to do really, really well. And then all of a sudden these guys come along and there you go. So I'm willing to admit that I was wrong and stupid.
You know StarDust? I hung out with him a little bit. We went to lunch together. And talking to him, he didn't seem very confident going into these matches, which surprised me because I knew he had practiced so much for Katowice. But he didn't get to play any more than one match in Katowice, but he lost directly to Teja.
It's kind of weird, that
The thing is, I have had this experience as a programmer where you practice very hard for a tournament, then it ends up being a disappointing one in which you don't go as far as you thought you would do. And after that, you're basically left with nothing but the training that you had for this tournament, which is still going to help you for the next ones. And I think he really underestimated that. I think he practiced so hard for Katowice, and even though he hasn't been practicing as hard, going into this tournament here for it, the practice that he had done before really showed here against TLO. Because that was some very, very solid games that he just played. And it wasn't like flat-out cheeses where the game ends quickly. There was a lot of transitions, a lot of smart moves.
And as you say that, it'll be very interesting now to see his PvP, considering that a lot of the lineup at Katowice was Protoss. So there has to have been, you know, extensive practice there, just in case he was meeting a Protoss in later rounds, etc. But now let's get into the map vetos here. Again, PvP map vetos, personal preferences.
God knows there was a few Protosses in Katowice.
There was quite a few, wasn't there? Altazim Stronghold gets removed for StarDust, just doesn't want to go into those crazy Phoenix versus Phoenix plays. And even then, you can have Nexus first, and then somebody can get really aggressive, punish that really hard.
Lots of options on it. Wouldn't be surprised to see Daedalus go again. Kind of covered this before. Frost doesn't seem to get removed often, even though it's a 4-player map, which is interesting in itself. It's just, I guess, a map that, as a Protoss, you don't really mind versus Zerg and Terran, so it makes it more likely that you won't mind it as well versus Protoss, because it's nothing particular, like other than being a 4-player map. I guess it's a little bit easier to expand on it than other maps, but the expansion builds, as far as playing with them or playing against them, they've really been figured out. So maybe that's why they feel like a level of comfort on this map than they wouldn't on the others.
And do you feel that Habitation Station and maybe even Polar Knight as well to a certain degree compared to these other maps is removed here for BabyKnight because it's not that blink friendly compared to the other ones?
Maybe, and they're not getting as much love. Habitation can be tricky. You know, there's the goal that's going to come into play sometimes. There's proxy possibilities. And again, this is a map where Stargate play, just because it's close by, sort of, you know. Stargate play is going to be good, and there are new builds with that, and again, Stargate versus Stargate, nobody really likes that, except maybe a few Protosses here and there. Very firm handshake. It's like, you'll let go before me.
Exactly. They just go straight back to the handshake for a second one, and now they're getting good to go. So
it's so funny, like, you know, every time we cast a game, I look at the latest games of each player, and now I was looking at StarDust's latest matches. His last match in PvP was a few days ago.
Oh, who was it against,
and
Todd?
He lost to me.
Oh, damn.
But in that game, it wasn't a real, what you would call a real game, in my opinion, just because of the way he played. He just did basically some standard opener into blink opener, into an expansion when he saw that I was on Stargate, and then went into the minimal probe saturation on 2 bases, 8 gates, Mass Immortals, Archons, and Zealots all in, which if you're able to spot that you're exactly up against this, you're going to do a lot better than if you get surprised and caught off guard. But going up against somebody like BabyKnight here, who can play very well, I think, in particular, with either Stargate or Blink, what is StarDust going to think? What's a good build against both Stargate and Blink? It's Blink, I think. The best solution would be Blink. I don't think going Stargate again, he wouldn't be fond of that going up, possibly up against a Stargate with a Stargate himself, and against the Blink, he would be in trouble. So could go for DTs, but it's not worked out too well for wall moves. So I think I'm going to be turned mostly towards what StarDust does here. I'm pretty sure, or there's a good chance we're going to see some Blink play out of him, which should be fun. Blink against Blink, I'm a big fan.
I am as well, especially after what we saw in terms of the control from BabyKnight during that first game, which was really, really cost efficient, really, really strong. He knew when to take the engagements and knew how much an advantage he was with a good concave setup against an opponent that was kind of stuck between a Nexus and a cliff, which is always pretty annoying. So now, Yonsu will be our first map between these two guys, and I wouldn't be surprised if BabyKnight just went straight for Blinkstalkers again here and tried to pressure his opponent down once again. But you just mentioned that you played against StarDust recently in PvP. Do you have any particular things that StarDust is really going to be going and emphasizing here in Protoss versus Protoss?
I think he's very, very good in the early game. That's the thing about StarDust. From the mid game, he's okay. His late game PvP is probably non-existent because people that he plays against usually either die early on or StarDust dies because, well, more rarely than not, because his strategy didn't work. So I think if they go into the later stages of the game, BabyKnight is definitely going to be at advantage, but again, in PvP, that happens very, very rarely only. And actually, BabyKnight is the last player from Team Millennium here to be still in this tournament.
Yeah.
Whereas StarDust, he has to keep up with his teammate, Jack G, who's made it to the round of 8 already.
That's true. That is true. Actually, you know, I was looking over that before, and it's quite interesting how well represented some of the teams are, just in general, in WCS Europe. With Millennium, for example, with Daishi and BabyKnight, always doing pretty well for themselves. Obviously, there was always normally 4GG in there, but fell short of the mark here in this particular season, which is a shame. I do like to see myself some 4GG, but hopefully we'll be seeing him in the next season.
See myself some 4GG.
No?
Actually come out wrong.
I like watching his games, man. I like watching his games. All right, okay. Yonsu is our map. StarDust is given a gift of the headset. And we'll find out what is going to happen here. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw them both get very aggressive. Let's get into the first map here for this best of 3. The winner advances on to the round of 8. StarDust versus BabyKnight. StarDust already got a lot of WCS points. Can he get even more? As we have spawning down to the bottom left-hand corner, our red Protoss representing my insanity. Sound's not working. Let's hold off on the intros.
You can still do the intros. His sound is not working. He's in the...
His sound is not working. It's BabyKnight. This is... Can I take the headphones off? Yes, you can. We're not going to say anything.
StarDust going DTs, what do you mean?
It's like, whoa, that's a really good read there, Todd.
That's a very fast DT build.
Yeah, all right. Okay, so it looks like we're going to end up remaking this game before we do step into it.
What do you think we can expect here? Blink against Blink, that's your bet? You've done very well. Like not even just in this tournament, but all the PvPs that we've done together recently, when I've asked you to predict something, it's come true a lot of the time.
Thank you.
So let's see if this trend continues here. And I'm going to put you on the spot again. I'm going to need a tech prediction.
I think we could see that, yes. What you just said.
Okay.
I'm not saying it because, well, I don't know. Maybe like they hear or something.
Here's my analysis is like, oh, Todd is right. Let's just make him right.
He's totally sick. Yeah, that's it. I think that could happen on a map like Yonsu. I don't see why not. Even if you don't use it for aggressive purposes, it's still pretty good to hold on to a natural and try and expand from there.
Yeah, I would say Yonsu is probably the map in this map pool that most Protoss players prefer overall. And it's probably the one that they've played the most. It's been around for a very long time, probably one of the oldest map in this pool. And it's really been figured out as far as timing goes. Proxy pylon locations, like you're gonna be seeing them check for a lot of proxy pylon locations, which are very, very common and that are going to be very hard to avoid for either of them if they want to proxy a pylon, if at all, on this map. So that's going to be very interesting too. This is, again, a map where everybody has a lot of experience nowadays.
Yeah, Yonsu. Interesting though that with the new maps coming along, Yonsu would technically be removed if all of the changes are to go through, with the new maps coming along as well.
Yeah.
So
it is gonna be gone soon.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be sad.
It's going to be very interesting. That's one thing that really motivates me to actually do more laddering when the maps are refreshed and are renewed. I really do like playing on new maps. I like it a lot.
You do?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, I think so many people hate the new maps. So I feel like everybody, when the new maps come out, they play and they're like, oh my God, I hate these maps. They're so bad. And after 1 week, they're like, oh my God, best thing ever.
They jump on that Reddit hype train and just go with it,
For me, it's always like that, to be honest. Every time I see new maps, I don't like change. I think it's probably what happens with a lot of people. They don't like change. They've taken the time to learn maps, and then new ones come along. They're like, oh God, I have to relearn everything. But then once you get used of them, you will actually realize a lot of these maps are great. Frost. I hated Frost so much when it came out, and now it's one of my favorite maps ever, I think.
Of all time?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people feel like that with how it works out, even like all positions. Obviously, Cross is what people really favor, I feel, for a map like Frost, but even the alternate positions are not too bad. But yeah, as I say, I really, really like playing on new maps when they come along into the ladder pool. It's very, very fun for me to just kind of like tease out what I can find with the new maps and stuff. And there is a 3-player map coming along.
There is.
Yeah, which is very exciting. I like the idea of that. I'm like, oh, okay, I scout one location, he's not there. I can go and put my proxy pylon for a cheese somewhere else after only scouting one location.
Well,
Great.
I'm glad you're already planning out your ladder sessions like this.
It's going to be brilliant. All right, let's get into it. Game number 1 here for our next best of 3. One of these players will advance onto the round of 8. BabyKnight or StarDust. A Protoss is guaranteed to join our 2 Terrans and 2 Zergs already. Finally, for Todd's sake. So we now get into Yonsu, and they have changed positions. So spawning up in the top right-hand corner this time as our red Protoss representing my insanity, it is StarDust. And down to the bottom left-hand corner as our blue Protoss representing Millennium, it's BabyKnight.
I really like the small team logos, man, next to the Nexus.
I love them. They're great.
So cool. By the way, that pylon placement is so 2013. On both of them, it's like a similar one.
Yeah.
Everybody goes for the pylons behind the middle line nowadays.
Yeah, especially on this map. Just in case something crazy is going on near that cannon rush position, but that's fallen way out of favor. So you don't really see that a whole lot now.
Gateway 13 for both, and only BabyKnight's gonna check for in-base proxies, even for the possible cannon rush that nobody goes for anymore on this map because it's been figured out. I remember the first time we saw it. Remember? I think it was Genius.
I think so.
It was like the best thing ever. It was like, oh my God, this is unstoppable. And then Titan came along and made it look foolish with some nice counterattack.
Oh yeah. I remember seeing a lot of it in WCS. I think Hasuobs had some
Hasu of all people. Like,
yeah.
The last guy you would ever expect to do this.
Crazy stuff. All right, so we're on with the 2 gas to 2 gas here for these guys. And I will stick by what you mentioned before, you know, with the Twilight Council versus Twilight Council. I think on this map, it's probably just the best option. Of course, somebody could just metagame and try and go for something else, but...
I like this second pylon here by StarDust, the location. And I'm pretty sure this one's not a mistake. He's going to go for a scout about the same time as BabyKnight is. BabyKnight doing a lot of scouting. He checked for in-base thoroughly, and then behind this, he scouts very, very quickly with his probe. So he wants to make sure he's not going to get cheesed here. There is always this, you know, this double gate stalker that can be just right outside your base.
Oh, yeah, the proxy one,
Yeah, it would not necessarily have been spotted by either. That can be a deadly build, but since StarDust is opening with 2 gateways, I don't think he would mind as much as BabyKnight would, since he's on the single one with a quick 3rd pylon. Again, if StarDust is able to confirm that quick 3rd pylon, he's going to be feeling very comfortable. He's going to know there's nothing out on the map, and I think he should be able to. But interesting chrono boost on the stalker here. StarDust is going to have to get out very, very quickly here.
Yeah, I guess he just wants to throw his takedown as quickly as possible from that point on. And it's actually going to be a Stargate here for BabyKnight, but right up in the top left-hand corner, so trying to hide it away and certainly trying to fool out StarDust here from the very beginning.
On a map where Blink is very, very good. Again, BabyKnight also, when you play Stargate versus Blink, ideally you hope that your opponent is going to make a mistake and move out of position when you have an Oracle and fry some of his probes so that you can get a lead. And then from there, you're the defensor. But in this situation, I feel like BabyKnight is most likely gonna go for some kind of Phoenix play, which against Blink, it's gonna be very, very tricky to play on this map. But as I mentioned before, he has so much experience with the Stargate play against anything. He's gonna be able to read into the situations very, very well. And again, he doesn't have to commit too much to this target. He could just get a few Phoenixes out and then go into Blink. But usually you will see more often than not an Oracle into Blink, like we've seen MC do before. Yeah. In this case, he does go for the Phoenix.
He's got to be careful about the initial aggression here of StarDust as he's moving out with 3 Stalkers. But BabyKnight with the Mothership Core as well in tandem should be pretty fine with this. And also the Phoenix is moving across there and will get good information and intel on his opponent quite quickly.
Interesting that StarDust didn't go for a 3rd gateway with this and no Mothership Core as well. BabyKnight is going to want to get a 2nd Phoenix as soon as possible to pick up one of those, do some damage on it and defend well enough. The Stargate was spotted. I think StarDust has to evacuate as soon as possible. He's going to get chased down. This could be some nice kills here, at least on 2 of those Stalkers. His BabyKnight goes for it.
Yeah, if he wants to just pick anything up here and then... But he's not going to continue.
How did the probe sneak in there? BabyKnight was checking on the other side.
Why would he make a pylon there of all places?
Just to keep on scaring him, and BabyKnight was already very scared. I guess we see the entire map, so we knew that this was just a light pressure to gain some information, but BabyKnight was being really paranoid here early on in this game. He really thought he was getting like 3 gated or 4 gated. He was being super patient. He checked his entire base, and now he's going to see that he's up against 2 gateways, Blink, and a Robo.
Yeah, so...
But by the way, the Robo doesn't make much sense here.
I was going to say, like, what does he really do with it?
Yeah.
Like, there's not really a ton of... I guess he could try and, you know, with Blink even, I don't know, make some Immortals and push.
I think he wants to have vision of his opponent's base when he blinks up there and does somewhere else, but actually, no, that might not be the case. I don't know, StarDust is getting a lot of units out, but he's made so many probes that this has to be for an expansion. And behind this, you see, BabyKnight is getting a Void Ray. This is going to do fine as long as the Stalker numbers are low for StarDust. Knowing StarDust in this situation, as much as I would like to convince myself that he's going to go for an expansion, I'm pretty sure he's going to be putting a lot of pressure. And he knows there is no Oracle as well. He knows that BabyKnight went for 3 Phoenixes, so having skipped the Mothership Core, that's actually good for him in this situation, because he's going to do fine. He goes for the expansion, but considering this, the amount of Stalkers that he has, I still think that going for some kind of attack would be good.
I mean, is this now up to BabyKnight to really kind of pressure and try and do some damage to that expansion? Because the Forge is coming out here as well for StarDust, which is quite a committal after that Nexus.
The thing is, BabyKnight's his strong units, they come out from the Robo and the Stargate, so he would have to move across the map. He wouldn't be able to rejoin his army with more strong units. Even if he chronoboost them, they would take forever to cross the map, and then StarDust will probably be able to get enough Stalkers to defend anything that gets thrown at him. So I think from there, BabyKnight most likely expands himself and goes into maybe Colossus.
I think that's a good way to look at it, because BabyKnight doesn't really have like any blink available to him as well, so anything that he would do at the front isn't really as super strong as he would like it. Meanwhile, StarDust is actually moving out with a few of these Stalkers on the left-hand side. He doesn't have vision to actually blink up, though, if he wanted to. So
yeah, he has an observer at around the natural, so he could move that, but...
Oh yeah, he could, yeah.
BabyKnight is actually... Oh my god, he has so few probes. He has 24 probes, and he's making Immortals continuously. I wonder if this expansion by him is a fake. We're going to keep a look... We're going to keep on taking a look at the production tab. If BabyKnight does not make any more probes, he could actually even cancel that Nexus and go for a kill. And he's not made it. He's finally getting an observer, by the way. He skipped that for a very, very long time. I think he wants to kill that observer of StarDust, which he saw above his expansion and army, and then go for an attack.
Leaving him in the dark and then just kind of hitting him. But at the same time, it looks like he's not aware of that observer. He will be... Well.
Yeah, he's moving across the map. He doesn't have a proxy pylon yet, so he's going to have to be quick with this if he really wants to attack. He's making probes again now, very slowly. This is such a weird game by BabyKnight. I think his miss rate is quite heavy. I think he thought maybe an attack was going to come. This is really, really weird of a play we're seeing here out of him. He doesn't even have a proxy pylon across the map, and he's moved there.
And does he only has the 1 Void Ray with this, so he's going to pressure a little bit at the left-hand side. He only has 1 sentry. The force fields in those small areas are very, very strong and deep, but there's already 2 sentries there, almost with full energy for StarDust anyway, so he could just choke this off, and then he has Blink as the defensive cooldown. This is going to be difficult for BabyKnight to really do anything at.
Force field's not going to do much here. He could have trapped some of that, but I don't think he wants to fight too early. He wants to make sure he gets enough to defend. Phoenixes are going to be traded for probes here, and with the +1, being researched. I think BabyKnight should be able to realize how far behind he's getting right now. I'm surprised he hasn't started his own +1. There it is.
It's kind of scary.
It's pretty late.
Yeah, like the upgrades are behind, the economy's behind. BabyKnight now is trying to leap forwards with the Robo Bay.
Yeah, I think StarDust should do that too, by the way, just because of the amount of Stalkers he's made. We've seen Protoss players, top Korean Protoss players in particular, every time they got Blink against Blink, or in a situation where they had Blink themselves, they always got Colossus behind, and yes, he's not going to go for Archon Zealot behind this.
At least he's caught up a little bit in the probe count, although it's 41 to 35 still. There is a dramatic lead.
Big difference.
Yeah. He needs to find a way in a bit more.
Especially under gas. Having his gases saturated so much earlier than his opponent, this is going to be a big deal.
I like that BabyKnight has 4 Immortals to 2 right now. I mean, that's a really good power punch, and it's going to be 5 to 3 eventually, with his Robo Bay finishing up as well. So his Robo units are always going to be stronger and more heavily focused.
Yes.
And that could be the difference maker.
Yeah, I really like the situation that StarDust is in right now, because since he went for the Blink, he already had the Twilight, which BabyKnight doesn't have. So he finished +1 earlier than his opponent, and he's getting +2 when BabyKnight couldn't even start his when his +1 is going to finish, because he doesn't have the Twilight, and he needs his gas to start and making this Colossi and the Thermal Lens as well. So very, very good situation for StarDust here.
He was really scared that that was going to get picked up there for a second, and will kill that off. But also, he may have left that in the dark. BabyKnight may have not have seen that probe move down there with that Phoenix.
He should be sending in some hallucination very, very soon, I think.
Yeah, he has the energy for it.
Or the Phoenix might get picked off too, if it's not careful.
I mean, here, if you're in the situation as BabyKnight, if you had perfect information, would you be saying, okay, I'm so far behind, I have to kind of do something, I have to go now? Or do you try and kind of play this out and go for expansions, etc.?
I would probably take a third and maybe take to Tempest, because StarDust is going for a second Robo, and I think StarDust is going to go for a timing with a lot of Colossus, better upgrades, and just a bigger army, which it sounds better in every single way.
Yeah. And this last Phoenix does spot that third base at least. Whilst BabyKnight was trying to secure his third, unfortunately for him, he wasn't able to do so. StarDust really proactive about that, killing off that probe down to the third.
BabyKnight sends in, again, another hallucination. This is going to be spotted by the one Stalker in the middle of the map, but the Stalkers of StarDust are out of position to intercept that. I think they're trying on the left-hand side to intercept maybe that Phoenix or another hallucination. But at this point, this is going to be a very late scout by BabyKnight, but he's going to know that he's up against the Colossus take off his opponent finally. Robo. And I don't think he's going to see the second Robo, though. Oh, this is very important.
Yeah.
So from there, we could be seeing a Tempest transition out of him. He has the choice. Second Robo himself or Tempest.
But even if he goes for Tempest now, it could be too late. I mean, it takes a while to get going. He thankfully had the Stargate, so he can transition a little bit quicker to that Fleet Beacon.
Exactly.
But it's still a window. It's still a very big window.
But to counteract what you just said, if he doesn't go for Tempest now,
he just dies anyway.
He gets gateway units against Colossus, so he might as well try.
Yeah, it's like you lose, sorry, if StarDust is able to hit it, but that's what you're hoping on. You're banking on the fact that he doesn't hit that timing. As now we have +3 weapons on the way for StarDust. And just for people out there that, might not watch as much StarCraft, as other people, weapons upgrades in Protoss versus Protoss are a massive, massive deal compared to any armor upgrades because of how it affects units like Colossi, as well as those Immortals. Big, big power punch that really isn't negated that well by extensive armor upgrades.
This is quite... Oh, what is StarDust doing? He's moving out as a fake, and he could have been caught out of position here by all of those units and the center army of BabyKnight. He's gonna look for a counterattack with his Stalkers. This is so smart. I think he gets the Robo Bay and maybe even the Nexus.
It could get a lot. If he got...
Recall, recall.
Dude, if he went in and got the Starport, actually, a Stargate even, that would be really good to actually make this follow-up.
The Robo Bay is much more important. A Stargate is 150, 150, and doesn't really affect the recall line. I knew this was going to come. I think he's going to snipe this and get out. Okay. Oh, nice force fields.
I guess some.
Look at the poor guy.
Oh, he actually could get out because of he wasn't really paying attention. No, run. Oh well.
Yeah, the Robo Bay kill here, this is a big deal. Remember, BabyKnight was only on one Robo making his Colossi. So now he's on one Robo, not making Colossi. This is significantly worse. And he starts his +3 as StarDust is going to finish in a second. StarDust is getting the late... I really like this move, by the way. Late Templar Archives. So he's basically waited for as long as possible just before he finally has to make them for sure to make it. And I think he's just going to only make Zealots and Archons from their attack and end the game.
And there wasn't even the attempt to go for the Fleet Beacon or anything like that. He realized that, maybe it would just be too big a deal. BabyKnight now technically is up in terms of supply, and his army supply is quite good, but still, those Colossus...
Actually ahead on supply.
The Colossus is just too good, though, for this, I think. If he gets the right engagement, this is...
StarDust getting cheeky.
He has to be careful there. The Colossi aren't in the best of
Time
positions.
warps.
And these Stalkers are actually doing well for themselves over on the left-hand side.
Yeah, but
get 12.
they're going to be defended, but he doesn't need them in the Death Ball. They're actually useless in the Death Ball. They don't do any damage. They attack Zealots, they tickle them, they don't do anything. So sacking them the way he did now, killing a lot of probes, that was very, very good. And look at the amount of gateway StarDust has made behind this. This base is actually super clean. It's like my old big game Hunter games where I lined up all my gates, made pylons and cannons behind.
That's nice. I like that. That's very efficient. Very, very neat. He's actually started War Prism speed as well. Just go for the harassment.
As well with the Dark Shrine. I think if he goes for some kind of big Zealot drop in the main, he knows that there is only one cannon there. He could do a lot of damage. Sniping key facilities like the Templar Archives, the Robo, possibly the Forge.
Whoa, 11 Colossi.
Seriously, if BabyKnight had gone for Tempest, I think he'd pull this one back and win it. Just because of the amount of Colossi and passiveness behind it. This is way too much. You're not supposed to get this many.
I don't know why, but
I'm afraid it's going to work, though, because BabyKnight is only on ground army. Having Immortals, though, is going to be a big deal against this. The thing is, I'm pretty sure StarDust has some Immortals of his own. He has 3 against 5. But if BabyKnight had like 8 Immortals, this could make a world of difference. And I'm actually surprised he's moving out across the map. I don't think he realized how many of these Destroyer of Walls there are.
Looking to push onto the third base, but at the same time as he does that, the Colossi from the back are going to do a bit of damage. Recalls out of there, leaves a few of those units behind, and he's trying to hit the fourth. But meanwhile... okay, there wasn't really too much down there. So BabyKnight, for now, has to retreat out, and StarDust holds on.
Zealot Ranch. Zealots against Zealots. Oh, StarDust going to attack that force base of BabyKnight, knowing that it's not up yet. He could get a cancel on that, which would be a big deal. Having your own force against no force of your opponent is always a nice thing. Oh, does BabyKnight trade? He might go for the counter. I don't think StarDust can recall. If the army is too close, you should never recall into a Nexus. And no, I think he's just going to walk back there.
But this might be BabyKnight's best option, right? Because he can't really engage that head on.
No. BabyKnight, I meant StarDust has to walk back because he cannot recall next to this Nexus when the army is so close. What is BabyKnight doing? He's move commanded his army. I think he's preparing a recall to defend that in his main, his left hand of Zealots to snipe that Nexus here.
There are also Dark Templars there to defend, but they're really not doing a whole lot right now. There is one Colossus there that is getting attacked at, but can't kill that off either.
Zealots in the third.
He forced the cancellation of, well, forced the kill on that fourth base, and he's actually doing a bit of damage down here as well. Dark Templar's being warped in for the defense.
Oh my god, there is a lot of DTs in the main. DTs versus DTs. This is ridiculous. There is an Observer by StarDust above his War Prism. This is so smart. If you do if you do this without an Observer, everything that you warp in will get killed by the DTs of your opponent. But getting the Observer here against no Observer, he's gonna gain such an edge.
He's killing off that production facility so quickly. There's really not a whole lot he can do about this. He's now having to come back to defend it, but losing all of those gateways, losing the opportunity to reinforce.
Going
for the +3. Oh, going for the shield weapons, shield for all of that, but in the end, does get cleaned up.
BabyKnight behind this is very confused. He's throwing down cannons in a bad position, like right in the middle of his base. They could get sniped very easily. He goes again for a counter-attack, but oh, he has his own Observer with his War Prism.
That's very cute.
This is so cool. Both of them really using the new meta in Protoss versus Protoss, where you have to do this, knowing that your opponent has a Dark Shrine. You don't have a choice. If you warp in Zealots or even DTs, they're going to defend quite easily.
How many Colossus does he have now? 13 Colossus.
Every time they do this War Prism action, they use this to bring their opponent's army out of position to try and counterattack. That's what BabyKnight is going to do again. And now he's too close to that left-hand side Nexus for StarDust to be able to recall. He's going to get the snipe and then recall.
Nicely done. Very nicely done. BabyKnight's really keeping himself in this. And he's actually warping in as well. StarDust does have his War Prism still active down there, but he's kind of just run ragged. There's really not more that he can do with that.
I think StarDust has had enough. He's going to go for a big attack with all of these Colossi, man. This is a ridiculous amount of Colossi. 13, I'm actually surprised he hasn't gone for the fight earlier than that, because you don't lose a ground fight with this many.
This army.
It just doesn't happen.
It's whenever I see this mount Colossi, it's like the synchronized swimmer formation of these Colossi just waddling along
look
themselves.
At them blocking each other.
That's not
I'm sure
really...
dolphins do that too.
Yeah, that wasn't very neat at all.
Look at this guy being left.
He's actually... Okay, so he completely negated my analogy. They were so uncoordinated, it's unbelievable, but... Jeez. All right, StarDust, you got to do something, man. You got to do something. You're taking some damage, but BabyKnight likewise really doesn't have that much of an army supply compared to his opponent. He's 20 down, and he is cleaning up things at home.
I think both of them got pretty sick of being harassed in their main. We can see cannons made from each side, and StarDust he's definitely got the better end of all this action. 129 army supply against 119. He's not sealed the deal yet. It's going to be about the engagement, I feel, a lot. Even though StarDust has a much better army, if he takes a really bad engagement, there's still a way. Oh, the position looks great for him, though.
Are you ready, Todd?
Oh, this is... I think BabyKnight is the one who should be ready and who's not.
Oh, are you ready? Are you ready? Here it comes, lasers!
Oh, the Archons are stuck!
Oh, he really needs to get those to the front. They need to be tanking a lot of damage. Once again, lasers just raining down from StarDust here. It's a complete disco. He just doesn't lose anything. He didn't lose a damn thing. GG, StarDust with a huge amount of Colossi just decides. Well, that was interesting.
All this build-up for that. 13 Colossi. As I said, you're not going to lose a ground fight in PvP with 13 Colossi. It's just not going to happen. Maybe, I guess if the opponent had better upgrades, had a much better mix, say like 10 Colossi and 10 Immortals himself, but that wasn't the case. BabyKnight had like 5 Colossi, few Immortals here and there, and his Archons, that was horrible. They were stuck behind. And I know this happens to me every time too, but I have to say it anyway. This was horrible of a fight, the way he took it. But regardless, I don't think it would have mattered all that much. Even with the best fights possible here for BabyKnight, I don't think he would have been able to win, because that composition, man. 13 Colossi. It's not every day you get to see this from just one player.
And here we come back to the fact that, you know, maybe Tempest would have helped there, I guess. But, all right, because all he had was Colossus. All he had was just Colossi even. That was... Nothing died from StarDust. Nothing died. By the time they even got towards the Colossi, they were just incinerated under the pressure. All right, game number 2 now on the way. Frost is our map. StarDust currently leads 1-0. Normally I commentate engagements, with a bit of gusto, but that one was just too funny. That was just complete death. All right, let's get into game number 2. Frost is the map. StarDust leads. BabyKnight looks to pull it back. He tried valiantly in that game, dancing around with warp prisms, looking to pressure the third. But now he's got a tall order ahead of him. As StarDust, currently ranked number 10 in the world in WCS rankings, is looking to accrue even more points. Up in the top left-hand corner, there is that man himself, representing my insanity. It is StarDust. And up to the top right-hand corner, we have our blue Protoss, representing Millennium. It's BabyKnight.
StarDust with the new age pylon behind his middle line.
Yeah, we like that. I do. Yeah?
I do as well.
You do that?
Yes.
Yeah, good.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Not all the time. Okay.
Oh, what happened? Okay. A little bit hesitant to start a probe. That was weird for a second here, but yeah, we should be seeing standard openers. Most likely going to be gateway 13 from both, followed by 2 gases. On this map, sometimes it can be good to go for a gateway 10 to catch somebody off guard that would like to go for like a quick Stargate or a quick Nexus. But neither of them is going to attempt that. If either of them would have had to do it, I would say StarDust maybe, especially being up 1 game, but no, he's going to play it fairly standard here. StarDust, I have to say, he's been quite impressive. Beating TLO in a nice way earlier, now really delivering versus BabyKnight in that first game with his Max Colossi. And as I said, even though he even said it himself, he didn't practice all that much recently. All that the practice that he did for Katowice, even though it didn't show there, it's showing now.
It really is. He's looking really good in this round of 16, really on form, and looking to advance in first place here.
No second gas by BabyKnight, by the way, yet.
And that will be extremely late in comparison to the norm. As for now, that gateway finishes up a little bit later on the cybernetics core here for StarDust.
You know what's something I've realized?
Oh, he didn't go fully in. He didn't spot him. He thinks he's not up in the top left. BabyKnight, alarm bells, go back.
Just because of the building placements. This is pretty sick. Wow, this is... And BabyKnight is opening in such a weird way, by the way. I wonder if he wants to go for a Nexus quickly or if he wants to go for some kind of 4 gates. He saved quite some chrono boost. I think this might be a 4 gate.
Oh, BabyKnight.
He was mining only with 2 on the gas, now with 3, so he's gonna have enough gas to start warp gate and a stalker behind it. So I think this might be a 4 gate attempt, which if his probe is across the map, and also he's gonna be scouted first. This is a disaster here for BabyKnight.
And now he probably thinks he's down in the bottom right because he scouted him out first and he wasn't up in the top left.
Oh my God. The thing is, StarDust, he's going to need some sentries, Mothership Core against this. And as much as with double gates, it's also possible to hold if he chrono boost out some Stalkers. We've seen that happen before. He left the base. Wait, did he? Yeah, StarDust saw. Yeah, he's going to confirm everything. No, he's not. But he saw that there was no second gas, yeah, right?
Wait a minute. If he throws down a pylon, if he throws down a pylon down there, then
when cheese fails.
No, BabyKnight, you think he's down there? He's not down there. Oh God. Oh, what a disaster.
Cheese fails.
Oh, he's not even going to send the zealot up to check. He's not even going to.
Of course he's not. Why would he spoil his strategy?
I know. Yeah. Oh, this is the first time in a long time I've actually seen a 4-gate, and it's the ultimate disaster. No, he's like, I'm gonna get you, I'm gonna get you, I'm gonna get you, I'm gonna throw down a pylon. Wait a minute.
Oh my God.
Oh, BabyKnight, no.
Poor guy.
He's like, wait a minute. He has a pylon
How
down
does
there.
he transition? He has to go for a Nexus, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
No other way around it. And StarDust, he has this one depressive probe. Come on, he's gonna throw down a pylon.
I mean, why not? Why not? Just do it.
You know what?
He's got 4 gates as well.
If BabyKnight had hit the right base, look at what StarDust had. He had one lone stalker. He could have won right there and then.
Oh,
the warp gate is so much later for StarDust. Yeah, he's gonna warp in 4 stalkers back at home.
And now he realizes where he is at least.
Yeah, StarDust can warp in sentries now, and he has 4 gates himself. Let's just say this is not a good scenario here. He didn't spot what? How did he not see the pylon? He saw it. Now he's coming back.
He spots it. Yeah.
Sub Zealots.
They're gonna get cleaned up pretty easily. But
actually, they could get some kills.
Needs to macro the stalker.
Gonna force some more units being warped in.
Yeah, that's
Does he target the probes? No. Yeah, one.
Oh, he is actually gonna get one. Yeah. And the thing is any probe he actually gets here is brilliant for him because he's at 17 probes to 26.
Yeah.
So
I think BabyKnight is gonna try to move up the ramp one time. He's gonna get force fielded and leave the game.
There's that force field. Just needs to kill off the stalkers at the top. There you go. GG. Congrats, StarDust. That was a sad ending to that series.
Yeah.
But
you know what I was gonna say before this turn of events happens? I was gonna say that when you practice very, very hard, no matter how late or how early, it's always gonna show at some point.
Yeah.
Hard practice is always rewarded in RTS games. And I've experienced this for over the years. I've been playing RTS games for 12 years. I don't know what's very, very long time. So believe me, if you practice hard for a tournament and then you fail in that tournament, that doesn't mean this was in vain, because the next tournament that you play, you can still show that everything that you've practiced, basically. And I really think that's what's happening here with StarDust. He's always been solid, but he's been very impressive today. And not just because his opponents are going to be highlighted in next When Cheese Fails video.
Oh, poor BabyKnight. But that's how the cookie crumbles in the end, as now StarDust advances on. So we now have our 5th player confirmed in the round of 8. And I gotta say, I'm getting very excited about the round of 8 because it is becoming more and more stacked as time goes on. We have 2 fantastic Terrans, 2 fantastic Zergs, and now we have a great Protoss.
What do you think we're gonna get as a second player out of this group?
Because my predictions are now way off in terms of...
So you wanna change?
Well, I mean, one of them's wrong, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see what goes on. All right, guys, we are going to now hear from the winner advancing on to the round of 8, Mr. My Insanity's StarDust.
Quarterfinals. Well done. Congratulations. Straightforward, really, in the end. 2-0 against TLO, 2-0 against BabyKnight, but he gave you a good game in map 1. Map 1 was pretty tough.
Yes. When I saw his army first time, like Void Ray, Immortal, and a lot of army also in it, then I expect he will come soon. Then I'm probably die, maybe, but he not coming. Then I play very easily. I always very ahead. Then my opponent, even I have 2 robotics, then third Nexus, but still ahead in army, so it's pretty okay.
And we're going to dub that the 25-minute Colossus all-in. There were so many Colossus there.
Yeah, actually, Colossus is the best unit in Protoss except Tempest. And even have 2 good offer Prism, then everything is okay. Gillot is nothing.
Okay. Second map. Talk to me about it. Tell us.
I know this situation is exactly the same when MC versus BabyKnight. Maybe last season. Then I also have mistake, like I should make a first pylon, but I didn't make, so I just make 2 stalker in my gateway. They not come put out. So what? Then I'm thinking again. I'm probably die if he come, but he didn't come. So what is this? Maybe and like 1 minute later, and it's MC versus BBK situation. So it was so fun.
Yeah, worked it out in the end. So through to the quarterfinal now, and Jack G is obviously in the quarterfinal too. You obviously don't want to play Jack G in the next round because team kills are horrible. But is there a player that's through already that you would like to play or don't want to play?
Yeah, it's sure. I don't want to play with Jack G because he's pretty strong. And
cheesy.
And cheesy is okay for me. I'm cheese master man. then he's so strong. If I play with him, it's really tough. I don't want to waste my energy in quarterfinal. I want to save more. Yeah.
So save Jack G for the final.
Yes.
Okay. Is there a player that you would quite like to play of the 4 players that have gone through?
Yes, I am.
Which player? MMA or maybe Vortex?
Maybe Vortex is maybe easier because I'm cheese dust and he's Jarg. Versus Terra have no cheese, maybe. Yeah, so I want Jarg.
Okay. All right, well, best of luck and thank you very much. StarDust is our first man through from Group C. We're going to find out in the next 2 matches who's going to join him and become the 6th member of the Round of 8 club at WCS Europe Season 1 Premier League. We'll be right back after this.